Attention, Bears Nation! Something radioactive is brewing in Chicago. The wide receiver everyone doubted, armed to the teeth with killer roots. The genetically gifted QB restrained by old schemes, freed by an offensive genius with warfare, tactics, and the 7th round ghost RB ready to bleed defenses. Exclusive leak. Ben Johnson hides the forbidden playbook to explode the NFC North. This is your last chance to understand the revolution before the Vikings turn to dust in week 1. Where's your like? Where's your subscription? Red alert. Those who don't become Bears fans now will cry in September. Friends, it's time to talk about one of the most exciting stories for the Chicago Bears in 2025. The definitive rise of Rome Odunze. And when I say rise, it's because this young man is about to explode in a way that will make Chicago fans forget all the frustrations of last year. Let's start with the basics. Rome Odunze was the 9th overall pick in the 2024 draft, a choice that generated a lot of buzz at the time, but left some fans doubting after the hail. Debut season, 54 receptions, 734 receiving yards, and only 3 touchdowns. Numbers that frankly don't match the talent and potential we saw from him at the University of Washington. But here's the thing many didn't grasp at the time. Odunze was a victim of circumstances. The guy arrived in Chicago and faced an offense with DJ Moore and Keenan Allen, 2 established veterans with over 10 seasons combined of more than 1,000 receiving yards each. Imagine the pressure. A rookie trying to find his place among this constellation of stars with an offense that changed offensive coordinators more often than it changes clothes. What happened in 2024 was a Shakespearean tragedy of American football. Chicago theoretically had one of the best wide receiver groups in the NFL, but the lack of consistency in play calling destroyed any possibility of organic development. Odunze was lost between being used on the wing in the slot without a defined role, unable to establish an identity within the offensive scheme. But now, folks, things have completely changed. Ben Johnson arrived to revolutionize this offense. And one of the first changes was giving Odunze exactly what he needed, a defined and central role in the offensive system. Keenan Allen left in free agency, opening the way for the young man from Washington to finally have the opportunity to show his true potential. And what is that potential? Let's go to the facts. Odunze is 6 feet 4 inches tall and combines physical size with exceptional speed. During his time in Washington, he wasn't just a long route receiver, he was a complete player, capable of winning physical duels, outpacing defenders, and above all, making the tough catches that define great NFL receivers. The connection between Caleb Williams and Romeo Odunze already showed promising signs last year, especially in long-distance plays. Remember the 47-yard reception in Week 3. The 44-yard one in Week 9 against Arizona. Those weren't coincidences. Williams and Odunze developed a natural chemistry that can be the foundation for one of the best quarterback-receiver duos in the NFL in the coming years. Ben Johnson is known for his ability to adapt the system to his players' strengths. And with Odunze, he has a versatile weapon that can be used in multiple ways. The plan is clear. Use Odunze as the primary deep pass threat, utilizing his speed and ability to win aerial duels, while DJ Moore handles the intermediate and slot routes. The preseason already gave us clues of what's coming. In the last preparation game against Kansas City, Johnson designed several specific plays for Odunze on deep routes. One pass was barely dropped. Another resulted in a 38-yard reception that made the explosive potential of this combination clear. It was no coincidence that this happened in the last game before the regular season. Johnson was setting up his system and testing the weapons he intends to use. What makes Odunze even more dangerous is his versatility. He's not just a long route receiver. He's a player who can line up in different positions, run routes of all distances, and most importantly, win contested passes. In Detroit, Johnson turned Jameson Williams into a constant threat, resulting in more than 1,000 receiving yards last season. With Odunze, the possibilities are even greater due to his superior physique and wider route repertoire. The pressure on Odunze will be immense in 2025, especially considering where he was selected in the draft and the inevitable comparisons with Marvin Harrison Jr. or Malik Neighbors, who had more impactful debut seasons. But that pressure might be exactly what he needs to make the definitive leap. Johnson plans to use formations that confuse opposing defenses, and Odunze will be central to this puzzle. Imagine plays where Chicago lines up in a running formation, but Odunze runs a deep route, catching defenders by surprise. These are the tactical nuances that can transform a good receiver into an elite one. The opportunity is there, served on a silver platter. With Luther Burden III still adapting to professional football and DJ Moore also being used in the backfield due to the running back situation, Odunze has a clear path to establish himself as the Bears' main aerial weapon. The most exciting part is that this isn't just speculation, it's based on concrete evidence. The chemistry with Williams, Johnson's system, the opportunity created by Allen's departure all align perfectly for 2025 to be the year of Rome. Odunze's definitive explosion. Folks, are you ready to witness one of the most impressive transformations in modern NFL? Because that's exactly what's happening with Caleb Williams under Ben Johnson's leadership. And ESPN is already signaling that this combination could be absolutely devastating for opposing defenses. Jeremy Fowler from ESPN isn't just talking for the sake of it when he says the Bears will show creativity to maximize quarterback Caleb Williams. This isn't just an optimistic prediction, it's based on what Johnson has done throughout his career, and especially on the radical transformation he brought to Jared Goff during his time with the Detroit Lions. But here's the crucial point many aren't understanding. Williams isn't Goff. And that's a huge advantage for Ben Johnson. Goff is a classic pocket passer with a strong arm and precision, but evident mobility limitations. Williams is a completely different beast. We're talking about a quarterback who combines Goff's strong arm with Josh Allen's mobility and Patrick Mahomes' improvisational ability. This is not an exaggeration. It's the reality of what Williams showed at USC and in the flashes he demonstrated in his debut season in Chicago, despite all the limitations of the previous system. Ben Johnson's genius lies in understanding that every quarterback is unique and adapting his system accordingly. With Goff in Detroit, he created an offense based on precise timing, well-defined routes, and maximum utilization of the quarterback's qualities as a passer. With Williams, he has the opportunity to incorporate elements of mobility and improvisation that can make the Bears' offense unpredictable and explosive. What Fowler is revealing on ESPN is that Johnson spent the entire training camp working on fundamentals with Williams, but always with the ultimate goal of unleashing his natural creativity. It's like teaching classical music rules to a jazz musician. You need to master the basics before improvising with mastery. And this approach makes perfect sense when we analyze Williams' history. At USC, he wasn't just a system quarterback. He was a born playmaker, capable of creating plays from scratch, extending plays with his feet, and finding receivers in impossible situations. These qualities were stifled in the previous Bears system, but Johnson intends to completely free them. The difference between Johnson and the previous Bears coaches is glaring. Matt Nagy, Matt Eberflus, and a whole long list of offensive coordinators who passed through Chicago in recent years seem determined to fit their quarterbacks into rigid systems, regardless of each player's strengths. With Justin Fields, we saw the same tragedy, a mobile and athletic quarterback being forced to play like a traditional pocket passer. Johnson represents the opposite of that. He's known for molding his system to the players, not the other way around. In Detroit, this resulted in Goff having the best phase of his career and becoming a real MVP candidate. With Williams, the possibilities are even greater due to the broader set of skills of the young quarterback. ESPN is specifically highlighting the off-the-cuff throws and Williams' ability as an off-script playmaker. These are the qualities that can transform the Bears' offense from predictable to lethal. Imagine situations where Williams escapes the pocket, buys time with his feet, and finds Rome Odunze or DJ Moore in improvised routes. This type of play is impossible to defend because it doesn't exist in the playbook. It's pure creativity and individual talent. The most exciting part is that Johnson has a proven track record of maximizing these qualities. In Detroit, even With a less mobile quarterback like Goff, he managed to create play action and bootleg situations that confuse defenses. With Williams, he can incorporate read options, scramble drills, and movable pocket situations that can make the Bears' offense one of the most dynamic in the NFL. The change in mindset is crucial. In recent years, the Bears tried to make Williams adapt to the system. Now Johnson is adapting the system to Williams. It's a philosophical difference that can result in a complete transformation of Chicago's offense. Fowler mentions that the Bears were simple in the preseason by nature, but that won't be the plan for the regular season. This makes perfect sense. Johnson used the preparation games to establish fundamentals and communication, but saved the special weapons for when it really matters. The expectation isn't just for gradual improvement, it's for a quantum leap. Williams has the talent, Johnson has the system, and now they have the opportunity to create something special. The combination of a quarterback with unique skills and an offensive coordinator who knows how to maximize them can result in one of the most exciting offenses in the NFL, and the timing couldn't be better. Chicago has quality offensive weapons. Rome Odunze ready to explode. DJ Moore established as an elite receiver, an improved offensive line, and most importantly, a coach who finally understands how to take advantage of what's in hand. Folks, get ready to hear about one of the most fascinating stories of the Chicago Bears for 2025, Kyle Monangai, the 7th round running back who could be the big surprise of the season. And when I say surprise, I'm not talking about a supporting role. I'm talking about a guy who can have a real and immediate impact on Ben Johnson's offense. Let's start with his story. Monangai was selected in the 7th round of the 2025 draft from Rutgers University, and many analysts at the time said he deserved to have been picked a few rounds earlier. This is always an interesting situation in a draft. When a player falls more than expected, it usually means there is talent waiting to be discovered, and discovering talent is exactly what the Bears did. Monangai didn't arrive in Chicago with the glamour of other rookies like Colston Loveland or Luther Burden III, but he came with something perhaps more valuable: the need for an opportunity meeting adequate preparation. The running back situation in Chicago created the perfect storm for Monangai to shine. DeAndre Swift had a disappointing debut season in 2024, leaving questions about his ability to be the main back. Roshan Johnson, who was supposed to be the ideal complementary option, is dealing with a foot injury keeping him out. Suddenly, a 7th round pick finds himself in the position of being the primary backup for the starter. But Monangai didn't reach this position by accident or due to lack of options. He got there because he deserves to be. During the preseason, even with limited opportunities, he showed flashes of what he can offer. 6 carries for 30 yards may not seem like much on paper, but those who watched the game saw a running back who gains tough yards, who has feel, vision, and who fits perfectly into what Ben Johnson looks for in a runner. And what does Johnson look for? Versatility, game intelligence, and the ability to contribute both in run and reception. Monangai has exactly this profile. At Rutgers, he wasn't just a power back. He was a complete player, capable of running between the tackles, finding spaces on the edges, and being an escape valve for the quarterback under pressure. The opportunity for Monangai to have significant touches in the regular season isn't just speculation. It's a real need for the Bears. With Swift still trying to establish himself as a reliable starter and Johnson injured, Chicago needs someone who can step in and contribute immediately. Monangai has shown in practice and the preseason that he's ready for this responsibility. The most interesting part is the timing. Ben Johnson arrives from Detroit with a history of using multiple running backs efficiently. With the Lions, he didn't just depend on a main runner. He used different backs for different situations, maximizing each one's strengths. With Monangai, he has a player who can fill multiple roles in the offensive system. Week 1 against the Minnesota Vikings will be the acid test. The Vikings have a solid defense, especially against the run, but this can be exactly what Monangai needs to show his worth. Sometimes the best running backs emerge when facing physical defenses requiring courage and determination. What makes Monangai even more intriguing is his mindset. He knows he arrived in Chicago as a late draft pick without huge expectations, which can be liberating. There's no pressure to be the franchise savior or justify a first-round pick. He can simply play football, use his natural abilities, and take advantage of the opportunities that come his way. Ben Johnson has a history of discovering value in unexpected places. In Detroit, he elevated the level of players other coordinators couldn't adequately utilize. With Monangai, he has a similar opportunity to take a talented player who flew under the radar and turn him into an important piece of the offensive system. Monangai's versatility can be crucial in Johnson's scheme. He can be used in short yardage situations, be the third down back in passing situations, a line wider than run routes, and be a reliable option in protection situations. This versatility is exactly what modern offensive coordinators look for in running backs. And we can't forget about the development factor. Monangai is entering his first professional year with a lot of room for growth. If he manages to establish himself as a significant contributor already in his debut season, the potential for the coming years is enormous. NFL history is full of late-round running backs who became central pieces of successful offenses. Monangai has all the characteristics to follow that path: talent, opportunity, suitable system, and above all, an offensive coordinator who knows how to use his skills effectively. The Chicago Bears are betting on internal development and discovery of overlooked talents. Monangai represents exactly that philosophy. A player with real talent who can contribute immediately if given the right opportunities in the right system. My friends, after analyzing these three fascinating stories of the Chicago Bears, one conclusion becomes crystal clear. We are witnessing the start of an offensive revolution that can completely transform the identity of this historic franchise. Rome. Odunze ready to take the lead in the aerial attack, Caleb Williams evolving under Ben Johnson's tutelage, and Kyle Monangai emerging as the surprise no one saw coming. These are three narratives that connect perfectly to create a mosaic of infinite possibilities for the Bears offense in 2025. Ben Johnson didn't arrive in Chicago to make incremental adjustments. He came to revolutionize, to transform, to finally give Bears fans what they deserve: a modern, dynamic, and unpredictable attack that can compete with the best offensive units in the NFL. Week 1 against the Minnesota Vikings will be just the first chapter of this new era. Get ready for a season that can completely redefine expectations about the future of the Chicago Bears.